It's a great day to be hanging out in the morning wake up. We've done so much already this morning. We're heading into Christmas, and our next guest is going to be talking about Christmas. And I know that might freak people out right now saying the Christmas word, but we need to be set and prepared.
It's in 65 days, Christmas Day. And
Okay.
I don't know about you, but I always find I spend way more money over Christmas than I would like.
We all do. We all
It's
do.
just stuff that you forget about, and then you always kind of start off the new year
Behind the eight ball?
just a bit behind.
Yeah. Well, we're going to try and get everything organised and check with the Chief Executive Officer from Christians Against Poverty, who's in studio with us this morning, Sam Garroway. Good morning, Sam.
Morena, great to be with you both.
Well, Tabby just said, thank you for coming in, and it's great to have you here. Tabby said that there's 65 days left until Christmas. Did you know that there's 9 Fridays?
Oosh.
How does that feel?
Oosh. Oh, yuck.
Yeah,
It's too early for that
know,
sort of
right?
talk, isn't it?
Well, what? Excuse me, you're the one who said, are you guys playing Christmas music yet?
Well, no, in the sense of like I'm making sure you're not.
No.
1st of December, that's the earliest.
You hold off till then.
Yeah, that's the earliest you can play Christmas music.
But we need to talk about Christmas because a lot of our families, mine included, I know it's there. I know it's a couple of months away, but my blinkers are on thinking it will take care of itself when it rolls around. But that's not usually the case.
It's not. We have to get ahead of it. Obviously talking about the financial pressures that come at Christmas and the stress of that. And for the team at CAP, we want to see all of that put to the side and see the reason for the season put back in the centre of Christmas. And it's not shopping and it's not financial stress. It's remembering Emmanuel, God with us, and all that. And so if we're going to do that, we got to start early on our finances.
Okay.
Are we okay right now though to start now, or are we just on the cusp? If you don't start now, you're going to find yourself in strife. Is that what you're kind of saying?
Yeah, I don't think we'd want to be. Well, look, we don't want to be too early talking about Christmas.
Yeah.
But when it comes to our finances, you can't be too early. You can't be too early in getting a plan in place. Hey, many people, ideally, if we've got a budget all year, our budget's kicking in already and we're prepared for it. But if you're not prepared for it, if you haven't got a plan for it, we do need to start now. We need to get something in place.
What does start now even mean?
Well, I would say that when it comes to any type of budgeting or any type of plan, start now means establish your reality. What do I actually have to spend on Christmas? Not what do I want to spend on Christmas, but what do I actually have? What can I afford to spend on that Christmas season? That's the starting point. Get a sense of that reality.
If I can jump ahead, because the work that you guys do at Christians Against Poverty is immense. I think, and a lot when we have you guys in, the testimonies that people can attest to the working alongside you guys has been awesome for reinvigorating their life. Not only sorting out their finances, but can we go to the other end of what happens when people aren't prepared and you get into a situation where you're spending what you want, not what you have?
Yeah.
And you must see a lot of families go through this, and this is the reason why this chat is happening now, right?
That's it. And it starts with we don't have that understanding of reality, so we start spending too much, or we start borrowing to spend, and that really is what we don't want to see happen. People living beyond their means, entering into that chaotic state where bills and debt are piling up. We don't have an understanding of what's going on there. The reality is that most of us as a nation are living paycheck to paycheck.
Yep.
More than 50%, I think it's around 55%, the latest stats are living paycheck to paycheck. So when it comes to this type of season, what it does is it starts to slip us into that financial state of, beyond our means. And that's not where we want people to be living. That's not how we want people to be operating in this nation.
What have you been seeing past years when family are we getting as a nation into a lot of debt? Are we borrowing more? Because we are living paycheck to paycheck? Is that what you've been seeing?
Yeah, so that figure has been increasing. So that's slowly as a trend increase from about 48% to 55% of our nation living paycheck to paycheck over the last probably 4 or 5 years. When we look at the amount of people who withdrew KiwiSaver hardship withdrawal in August last year, it was 2,700 in the month of August last year. It was 4,200 in the month of August this year. So when we talk about the reality of people's situation and what hardship looks like, these are some of the things that are indicators of hardship at a national level. When for the work of Christians Against Poverty in the team, what we're seeing day to day is just continued increasing complexity in client situation. So it's not just the dollars in that situation, as we've sort of talked about. It's the wider package of stress and impact on family and mental health, and how that impacts your ability to participate in society, and yeah.
Everything,
mate.
Yeah. So you said start with what you have, not with what you want, and then from there, what's next?
Yeah. Well, essentially, when it comes to spending, it's only ever income and expenses, right? There's no other category other than those two. So by starting with what we have, get a sense of reality. That really goes like, okay, that's what I've got. Then from there, we start to make a bit of a plan around what are the areas that you're going to spend on across Christmas. So for most people, it's gifts, it's kai, it's food, however we do that, and then largely it's going to be in around whatever time away or going away looks like together. Those are the things that are our big buckets of spend, if we like to say, particularly around Christmas. And so we've got a few tips for you this morning that we can come to around each of those buckets of stuff. But as we do that, we can start to make a plan for each of those. But if we're going to save money, the reality is we're going to need to spend some time.
Nice.
So,
Yep.
yeah, if we're going to save money in our finances, we're going to do that well, it's going to mean that we're spending some time to achieve that.
Sit tight. Sam's got some tips on how we can do this practically as well. We'll do that next.
We have a very special guest from Christians Against Poverty in the studio, helping us sort out our lives before Christmas. Welcome to the show, Sam.
Thanks.
Chief Executive Officer from Christians Against Poverty. This is how important Sam believes that this conversation is to have right now, because he's the chief exec. Now, normally when we have interviews with people coming in, they don't send the big cheese. You know, the big cheese. The Edam is here. Usually we get the Colby. But Edam is here.
Have you been called that before?
Never the Edam before, but you know.
The Brie is here.
The Costello.
Thanks, Sam. Now, you started talking about the thing you need to be able to do to in order to start with your budget or start to get your finances in line leading up to Christmas is dedicate time. Now, is that a family thing? What does it? Is that a sit down? Okay, let's write it out in a spreadsheet, Excel. What does that look like?
Well, I think you can do that however you want, but by that we basically mean, so we establish our reality. How much have we got to spend on Christmas? Let's put a dollar figure to it, whatever it is. The time piece is to go, it's going to cost you something to save. Right? So as you do that, it might cost you time for you and your spouse or partner, and figuring out, what you might have a planning session first of all. What are our needs? Where are we going to be? What do we want to do? What are the needs coming through that we're seeing? And then the time's going to be in starting to pursue those things. And that's why we want to start now, right? You've got a good runway. What is it? 65 days to Christmas. So we've got some runway in front of us now, but we know we're going to have our, as I mentioned, you've got your big bucket of spending around gifts and giving. We've got our bucket of spending around how we do time away, and then obviously kai. Those are the three big costs at Christmas that we see for people. And so the time is making a plan and then executing a plan as we go about that.
Is that time thing important also? Because if you're going to be a bit more creative with the kind of gifts that you buy, you need more time.
Yeah, absolutely.
When it comes to gifts, because I know this is a big emotional thing for a lot of people, especially if they've got a big family. I come from like a really big family. There's lots of people that I love that I want to honor. How do you manage those big emotions, wanting to show love to the people that you love dearly, embracing the Christmas spirit, but without kind of going under financially?
You know what, that's a really good point. And just to extend that a little bit, because in my culture as well, Pacific people, you must see this through CAP as well. That's very important to us, and it's trying to educate our families that it doesn't have to be like that.
Yeah.
So What's your answer?
Just that small thing. Well, it sounds like both of you have got some experiences in that yourself, but I often come back to that analogy of, when you give a gift to a kid and they spend more time playing with the box or the gift wrapping than actually what the present was. I think that's the essence of what we want to tap into in the gift giving and the joy in that is, and we need time to be able to do that, right? So whether that's creativity with your children, I know my kids are just coming into the Lego phase, and we all know Lego doesn't ever go on sale, and we've tapped into just buying some secondhand gifts around that. They don't know. They just think it's amazing in that. And the creativity that we can have in saving costs. We did a trampoline last year, secondhand, Dollar Reserve off Trade Me. The catch is you've got to go and pull it down from the person you buy it from and reassemble it. And when you're doing that, that's another example of that time, right?
Right.
It's the time that you've got to invest in doing that if you're going to save in the dollars. And so,
What would you say to people that hear the word secondhand and go, there's no way I'm buying somebody that I love something secondhand?
Oh,
Because there's a lot of people like that.
There are. You just take them aside and hug them really hard.
Pre-loved? Is that going to sell it to you anymore?
Say pre-loved, yeah.
Pre-loved? Yeah, look, it's there are some people where that's going to be barriers for them in that. And so, we're increasingly spending online now, right?
Yeah.
So which is great. What online does is it means that we stay focused on what we're wanting to buy, and we're not in a shop browsing as easily. And so there are some people where secondhand's just not going to fly. So if you're buying brand new, let's say you're buying online, one of the biggest tips I could say to you right now is leave something in your cart for a period of time, because increasingly where you're purchasing that from, they're going to come back to you with some type of discount offer, 15, 20%, just to try and convert that sale. So secondhand's not an answer for everyone. Again, I mentioned the children example where they probably don't mind that as much. But there's tips that we can do to keep ourselves to the budget that we set for ourselves. So online, leave it in your cart. The other is the 24-hour rule. If you're finding something that you want to buy or you think you want to buy, just give it 24 hours. Make sure you're not making that impulse buy, that flood of emotions that comes over us to try and please someone else with that gift.
Hear that, wifey? Right. Put it on the fridge and look at it for 24 hours before you make a decision. What about trips away and food? You talked about those.
Yeah, so trips away, again, we're this far out from Christmas. Most of us have got some plan for Christmas, some shape or form. And I guess what we would want people to do is, we've got this idea of the Kiwi dream at Christmas. We want to go away camping and it's going to be sunny and beautiful. How many of us have horror stories of camping at Christmas time, right?
You're speaking Salah's language.
This is why you don't do it in the first place.
Yeah, well, that's it. That's it. So maybe that I can't dial up the need for the staycation enough. No traffic.
Yeah.
You're not sitting in queues. You're not camping, getting rained out of a campsite. And you can actually, and this is it, if we've actually prepared how much money we've got to spend on Christmas, we can actually determine if we're going to go do that. And maybe it's better to spend a little bit less money than you would going away and just do something fun right where you are in your community, and you'll be supporting local businesses at time that they need it. Everyone's winning. Your budget's going to thank you for that.
What about food? Because there's a big time for people,
Food's big.
turning up with food. Man,
Food's big.
I don't know about you guys, but the fridge is always full to busting around Christmas time.
Yeah, and there's always leftovers, right? I
Yeah.
feel like I'm eating leftover ambrosia for like 4 days.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yep.
Trifle.
Yeah, exactly. And it was soggy to begin with, and after 4 days, it's really gone,
Yeah.
No, so I mean, we'd always be encouraging people to spread the load, So again, if you're starting with your position of what have I got to spend, that's gonna start to bring some reality to the food situation. We love to overcater. We love to have it be that sign of generosity, and we've got to start working from a position of like, what have we got to bring here? And spreading the load, that doesn't need to be awkward. That's just like hey, can you do the dessert? Or hey, can you do the whatever it is if you've got family gathering together, or if you've got people gathering together in your world. And one of the most grounding things that you can do is make Christmas Day meals about others.
Yeah.
So there are so many great, whether it's city missions or other places around the country who at Christmas are doing a Christmas meal for the community and putting yourself in that position where you're going to serve others in that. Man, it will give this perspective that you need. It'll help you keep an understanding of and perspective in what you do in your setting, in your situation around keeping your costs under control.
Well said, Sam. What about for people who are hearing what you're saying right now, but things are still really chaotic in their household right now? Are you guys available to be able to talk to these people to sort of help them lay out the plan?
Yeah, capnz.org. You can get online there, check out Cap Money online, or you can also check out the debt help. If you're in that situation of struggling with unmanageable debt, where you're feeling like your life's chaotic, I think of Roy. Roy was doing baked beans with himself and his dog in a car at Christmas only a few years ago. And where he's gone to now, he's debt-free. He's got a roof over his head. And this Christmas, I know that he's going to have a wonderful time.
Oh, so exciting.
That's very, very cool. And again, you guys do a fantastic job for everybody who's maybe needing a little bit of financial guidance right now, or finding things really, really tough. We highly recommend and encourage you. If that's you, if things are a little bit chaotic financially, how about you jump into Christians Against Poverty, and they'll help you out. Sam, you're awesome. Thank you, brother.
Thank you for having me.
Thanks for coming in.
God bless.